A groundbreaking hybrid publishing model is here, allowing authors to keep all of their rights and also royalties. To find out more, let's head to Sydney. We're joined by Jessica Muddett, publisher, founder of Hembury Books. Jessica, great to have you here on Ticker. Talk to us about how hybrid publishing actually works at your company.
We have flipped the traditional publishing model. Our aim is to provide the best aspects of self-publishing with the best aspects of traditional publishing. The best aspects of self-publishing is keeping all your royalties and your creative control and intellectual property. And with traditional publishing, you get that supportive team of professionals, so you don't feel the stress or overwhelm that is publishing a book solo, as well as having someone who is there for you in your corner. With the technology that exists today, it is possible to have your book available globally at more than 40,000 global retailers and libraries. And so publishing has fundamentally changed. The idea of sort of printing a couple of thousand books and shipping them out to bookstores to see whether or not they sell and then shipping them back to potentially be pulped, I don't think is appropriate in 2025. And we have come up with an author-centric model that I believe provides the best of both worlds.
Yeah, well, good on you. As you can imagine, here at Ticker, we talk to a lot of different authors who talk to us about both sides and the difficulties of both sides. I love the fact you've blended them together. Where did that idea come from?
It came from my own heartache. As a writer who could not get a traditional publishing deal, I tried and tried, honestly, for years. And I was faced with the prospect of having to give up my dream of becoming an author. And then I turned to self-publishing a bit reluctantly, but then I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the control that you have of setting the date, of seeing your real-time sales data on Amazon, and just being able to plan your second book without the mental anguish of, will this ever see the light of day? And I realized there are a lot of authors, a lot of people like me with manuscripts that have been languishing in drawers, sometimes for 20 years. We've published books that haven't been published for 20 years. And that there is an enormous demand to utilize the technology that exists, but to do so in a way that you have an exceptionally high quality book. Because if you're embarking on self-publishing for the first time, it is just a minefield. So we have a team of experts to support the author, from cover design to the interior design to crafting the blurb and the author biography and setting up your author accounts and things. And that it is possible, but it does require a team of professionals around you to utilize the power of self-publishing.
Wow, 20 years, talk about procrastinating. But as you say, it can feel like a huge mountain to climb. I think everyone's got a story in them, but the idea of what to do with that story after pen to paper is the tricky bit. Why are authors, do you think, the best ambassadors for their books and therefore should receive 100% of the royalties?
I think because the book is often, it's the product of their own creativity. It can be the product of their life, some very difficult experiences in their life or hard-won business insights that they've gained over the years. And the publisher is important for getting the book out there and ensuring that it's, really attractive. But really, it's the author that has laboured over the contents of the book. It is their own, creative genius that's put it together. And they are the most invested in the book. And they will be invested in the book for years, if not their lifetime, or until they write another book or another book. And so really, you need to give the author full control to do that. They shouldn't have to get the permission of their publisher to do a business collaboration or to repurpose, a chapter of their book into an online course. They really need to own their intellectual property. They also need to be able to buy wholesale copies of their book. So, you can purchase a copy of your book for about $8 to $10. And you can take a couple of hundred to a speaking gig and then sell them, or you can sell them directly from your website. You need to be able to have the direct connection as well with the people who are buying your book, because these are, the hottest leads you'll ever have. Yeah. So I just think one of our mottos is that we get out of authors' way. We get out of their way in terms of we don't mess with their characters or, the title of their book. We provide guidance, but we do not come in and say, this is how it's going to be. And I think then you have an author who's genuinely empowered. The contents of the book sincerely reflect who they are and their thoughts, and then they can go and sell a lot of copies of their book.
You get out of the way, but I'd imagine you are also helping the author get out of the way of themselves, of course, of looking at that steep mountain to climb. And when an author has full creative control, I'd imagine that their book has a lot more heart and integrity, as you're showing us today.
It really does. And I think that is much better for readers. You don't have books that are attempting to appeal to the masses and can end up sort of being diluted, perhaps to make them more palatable or less dark, or they're told their book is too long or it's too short. We can have really creative and ambitious and interesting books that are also truthful reflections of what it means to be a human being. And I think, as difficult and as dark as that can be, or as funny and as chaotic as that can be, and also, if it's a business book as well, that it really, sometimes ideas that are the most forward thinking are not popular at the time, but
Yeah.
we need to be bold enough to be allowed to publish books that is truly
Yes.
the vision of the author. And when those books do have heart and integrity, they may not appeal to the masses, but I think that a good book doesn't in so many ways. We all have our favorite.
You got to
books.
find your niche, right? You got to find that thing. Just
Yeah.
quickly, Jessica, before we go, how can people get in touch?
They can get in touch at hemburybooks.com.au and just set up a video call, and we can talk about your book, which we can publish in just 12 weeks if your manuscript
Wow.
is ready.
That sounds pretty good to me. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.